So it was only just a couple of weeks ago where we covered Dolphin UWP running on the Xbox Series S and X, and it was a early look, I will say, at the emulator, because even though it ran really well, it didn't have a fleshed out user interface. And one of the biggest issues at the time, at least, was that you would have to configure Dolphin on a PC and then copy its configuration over to the Xbox. And looking at the comments of that video, it definitely turned some people away, saying that it was, too tedious and too complicated. And certainly it is, especially if you just want to, basically plug and play in that particular, application. But the good news is that it wasn't even a few days after that video had gone live where there's been a significant update to Dolphin UWP running on the Xbox. And now the version 1.12 has just released, well, about 5 days ago at least, there was an update to Dolphin UWP that contains a fully fledged user interface. And I got to tell you, I've been playing around with Dolphin with this particular update, and everything that you saw in my video previously, just basically throw away, because that whole concept of setting it up and using a PC to run Dolphin and configure your settings and your gamepads is completely been updated. Now, if we take a look at the release notes here, it says that Dolphin UWP has been updated with a front end and it's looking good. The version 1.12 now has a full settings menu in place for graphics and configuration. The GameCube controller defaults are now fixed. You can set your config folder location from inside the front end instead of needing to use the in-game menu. Games are automatically loaded from your local cache folder. This should make Dolphin without an external drive less of a headache. And there's also some additional bug fixes as well. And I gotta say, the work that's been put into this front end is nothing short of incredible. It looks really, really slick to use. And setting up Dolphin is exactly the same way as you would in the previous version, but this time around, as soon as you launch into it, it's a lot easier to basically get all established and set up. Now, the particular thing that I want to mention in this episode is that I wanted to cover the update to the user interface, but I don't want to basically reiterate what makes Dolphin so good on the Xbox or in general, because it's a very well established emulator and it runs really well and it runs great on the Xbox Series S and X. So there's really no reason to kind of reiterate that stuff again, but I did want to point out and illustrate that the front end is definitely a milestone and something that I wanted to cover on the channel, because I think a lot of people are basically waiting for the emulation, or the emulator itself, I should say, to improve as far as its kind of user experience, and here we are. Now, as far as the features that are supported, it's pretty much the entire set of options that you can find in Dolphin. There are some things that are not available yet, but one really cool feature is the ability to enable the broadband adapter without having to resort to Dolphin on the PC. So from here, we can turn on the broadband adapter, and then that enables us to start playing online games such as Phantasy Star Online via the private servers that have been around for many, many years. There's also the ability to enable cheats from the user interface, and more importantly, we can now increase resolutions all the way up to a staggering 5K. And this is the internal resolution that Dolphin can internally upscale a GameCube frame buffer to. So this is actually quite large. Now, I haven't actually gone back and tested these higher resolutions or these high internal resolution games running under Dolphin, but I do suspect in any case, with the testing that I've done with the Series S on other emulators that have internal upscaling, such as DuckStation and PCSX2, for example, the 1440p seems to be the sweet spot. There are some instances where you can get away with a 4K internal resolution, but in that regard, if you want to kind of get that internal resolution bumped up, you're better off potentially looking at a Xbox Series X, because it does have that extra performance that will help you get to those 4K resolutions with good frame rates. Now, one other thing that I want to mention real quick is that a lot of people were asking me about the Xbox One and Xbox One X. Is it possible to run UWP apps on those hardware machines? The answer is yes, you can. You can absolutely run UWP apps on an Xbox One and an Xbox One X. Unfortunately, however, you're not going to get a good experience running Dolphin on an Xbox One X. And I did a short clip in the last episode when we talked about Dolphin, where you could see F-Zero running at about 20 frames per second on a One X. And unfortunately, if you do have a 1X, yes, you can install and play it, but you're not going to get anywhere near a decent level of performance, and it's probably just not worth your time. If it was me, I would recommend that you pick up an Xbox Series S. I've seen them for as low as $250 these days. $299 is the RRP, and these particular machines make absolutely sweet homebrew and emulation devices, and I can't recommend them more. They're just so fantastic to use. They're small. You can basically take them around with you. And as you can see, it runs GameCube and Nintendo Wii games, and add runs PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, and Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast. All the kind of big emulators right now runs very well on an Xbox Series S. So I'd suggest, if you do have an Xbox One X and you do want to take a look at Dolphin, it's probably not worth the time and investment to do so. It's probably a passing curiosity, but I would recommend that you just pick up an Xbox Series S and just go from there. You'll have a much better experience, as you can see here in this video. But we're going to leave it here. I just wanted to quickly update you guys on this milestone. It's something that I probably just should have waited a few days, but I didn't know that there was a user interface that was just around the corner that was being developed. But I did want to update you guys and let you guys know that yes, Dolphin has been updated. And, again, if you're on the fence about picking it up and trying it out for yourself, jump in because it is fully fleshed. It's awesome, and I absolutely recommend it. And big, huge thanks to the team, Sir Mangler, Reverie, and everyone else that has been basically involved in the making of Dolphin UWP, because they're doing some amazing work, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. The Series S is an absolute beast for emulation, and I don't think this is the end of the story. I'm sure we'll see more things come out of it from the community, and I can't wait to see it. But we're going to leave it here for this quick episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.